Hi, I'm Jay.
Why are my scissors sticky? And I'm Chris.
And we are a couple of grumpy old men. Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. Grumpy dungeon masters. I got to learn to read.
You can't read. Hello, Craig.
Craig. What's up, Betty? Long time no see.
So he's a half-orc now.
No, we determined last time he was not a half-orc. He could only be a full orc.
So he's only a full orc, okay.
Yeah, we never did finish building his character sheet, though.
Yeah. So we have to record an intro first.
No, we don't.
Yeah, we do.
No, we don't. I'm just going to utilize the same one.
I'm Chris, and that was Jay, and this is the Grumpy Dungeon Masters. Ta-da!
That was a great intro. Best one yet.
Yep. There you go.
All right, so you finally finished up Tomb of Annihilation?
I did, and everybody died. Spoilers. Sorry. Forgot.
Yeah, don't bury the lead. Just get it right out there. Tell everybody what happened. Yeah, hey, props to you. You called it. A couple podcasts back, you said, I don't think they're going to survive it. And sure enough.
Well, there's no way to survive it. That's the thing. And
well, that's not true. My players, they've run through it and they all survived it.
They beat Asarak at the very end.
You only have to get him low in hit points before he flees.
I mean, fair, but I mean, so we talked about being cruel and how cruel to be, and I could have really just nosedived the entire thing a couple sessions before they went in and fought him, and I did. And a player died because of it, and he created a Warforged because he was playing an Artificer. The Artificer is the one that got screwed over, and he died because of it. And I told him he could just make a Warforged. Well, this is really more his idea, but I was like, hey, you should make a Warforged, and then that will be a new character. So your Artificer, built another one of these robots while he was going insane that night, and this is, him.
Right.
I told him, what do I do for gear? Is like, he's a Warforged. Build into him what the guy would have built into him while he was going through some insane thing. And he ended up with like 30 and 3 of his stats. Some shit. And he was very, very, very overpowered. And it didn't matter. So I'll explain how he died in a little bit. So they go through and we start our session, and I kind of like tell them, it's like, hey, this is going to be really brutal and it's going to suck. But just know that I'm not getting sadistic joy out of this. It's just, this is how hard it is.
Yeah, and a DM never derives pleasure from the misfortune of their players.
Right. But I was like, there are certain degrees of success, and it's up to you guys to figure out what exactly that is. So they walk down into that room. I'll try to keep it a little vague so people who don't get too spoiled. But they find
if they are listening to our podcast, they should already expect spoilers.
Right. But let's be a little vague. They find the Tomb's MacGuffin that's causing all the problems in Chult. And they find the thing that's attached to it, the end guy at the end of the tomb. And they engage their fight with it. None of them died during that fight. But Shelley's Kanku was extremely crippled by the end of it because of one of the abilities from the boss, and the barbarian was also very had like level 3 or 4 exhaustion as well, and Shelley had like 5. She was like 1 away from death. No, she was 4.
Yeah, exhaustion is something they added. I didn't play 4th, but in 5th edition was the first time I'd come across it, and man, I actually like exhaustion a lot because it's a rules-based way of sort of covering when you've just worn yourself down over time.
Yeah.
They didn't really have that in 3rd edition or earlier editions. It was just, you start taking damage after a while, or I'd have to actually go back and look for the exact rules on it. It's been so long, but I know it was nothing like what they currently have. Fifth edition in that aspect is way better.
Yeah, it can be used in a lot of really good ways, and that can also be used in a lot of really bad ways too. I think if you're playing a more we're not heroes, we're kind of gritty adventurers, exhaustion is great, to kind of get stuck in that, you can't sleep here because you're in the middle of a tomb.
Mhm.
So you can just basically take short rest. Do you want to risk a long rest? And there's an 80% chance there's a wandering monster coming by. Um,
Yeah,
and
literally level 1 of exhaustion is, or level 2 of exhaustion is what everybody at boot camp lives in. Like if you're military, that's what it is. At least all the
yeah,
stories that I've heard.
it's
Waking them up for 2 weeks straight at 4 a.m. after they all went to bed at 1 o'clock or whatever.
yeah. So it was pretty brutal. Shelly took the brunt of all the exhaustions, unfortunately, and she was kind of upset that she couldn't do anything like super spectacular during that fight because she just couldn't. The boss, there's no way to engage with the boss in melee. So you can try, but you're most likely going to fall, and he can just move away from you. And
It
then
happens sometimes.
yeah, and then so um, there was another person, the healing druid. He just kind of stayed in the back and like tried to keep people alive, but he was playing like this post traumatic stress druid from dying the previous session and being basically cloned by the hags at the bottom.
Right.
So
Question:
he's
How do you play a healing druid? You don't get healing word.
you get a bunch of other healing spells
I mean, cure
like
wounds.
before they nerfed it. There was a way for them to create like this like ethereal sea animal or druidic animal, and you would run it through people, and they would get healing from that.
Oh, okay. That
So like
must be
he could,
must be one of the archetypes that I'm not familiar with.
yeah, he could pump out like 80 or 90 healing in a round,
All
much
right.
by running this thing back and forth. But they've since nerfed it. And I was like, just play it your way, you know. And so they're fighting the end boss, and they actually they split the damage. They were fighting the boss, then they were fighting the MacGuffin, then they went back to the boss, then they went back to the MacGuffin, and finally they killed the MacGuffin, and then they eventually killed the boss. If they would have just focused on one, they would have been smooth sailing the entire way through. But they did it. No one was severely hurt. No one was dead. Um, and then so essentially they freed Cholt from the curse, and they defeated the big the second big bad guy of the Tomb of Annihilation from getting any stronger.
Yeah.
And that's when Asarak shows up. So Asarak shows up, and the very first thing that I did with him is I went to the Paladin player who had not died the entire campaign. He played the same character from start to finish. He would be the most experienced player I have, I think, and
Mhm.
the best metagamer out of everybody. And he had a plan to basically take his uh, bag of holding and like scoop up Azarak's sphere of annihilation and cause the extreme ripple to happen and destroy it. Teleport out
Right.
of there
Yeah.
or teleport.
Yep.
Yeah, that was his plan. Bit of metagaming, but I'll allow it. It's a
I mean, who
CR23
who knows?
mage.
Maybe the paladin heard about this somewhere.
Right, yeah. I'll allow it. It doesn't bother me at all. I wanted them to win. So
Even with you wanting them to win, they still couldn't manage it.
I walked out. He walked out. Um, initiative was rolled. He got an 18. Somehow, Asarak got a 21. And the very first thing that I did is power word kill him.
Well, yeah, of course.
and he just dropped, and all his gear just dropped into the lava below, and it is gone. So very first round, there he went. Then the barbarian and the monk the monk Warforged robot tried to get over to where Asarak was, which is kind of weird that Asarak shows up on this ledge, and he's a good 90 feet from everybody. But all his single target damage spells are all 60 feet max range.
Yeah, naturally.
Yeah, which is really weird because how else is he going to hit them? But he had like AoEs that were 120 feet.
Well, that's how.
So
You just pelt them with the AoEs and
yeah,
single target them when they get close.
So I was doing that, and they came in and they tried to basically scale the walls, and they were doing it successfully. And they had like 150 movement through magic items and other wifty abilities, so they were able to get to him. The barbarian got to him first, and she got scared, and she decided to run through the same portal that Azrak had come through at the very end. She was just going to make a mad dash out through that portal to see if there was a way out of the tomb.
Right.
The monk came over the following turn, and then there was a wraith on the board from the previous boss. Basically, there was no stop. There was just the one boss and then straight to the next one. But there was a wraith still out there that he had summoned. So the monk gets over to Asarak, tries to hit him, fails. The wraith comes over, gets him flanking. Asarak paralyzes him. Just for fun, baseball bats his head into paralyzes him, disintegrates him, baseball bats his head just for good measure. All the time he's failing the con save to get out of the paralyze, even with his like +9 to con. And then the wraith just like pushed him over into the lava, and he hit the lava, and that's when he died. And he immediately took 2 death saves from the lava damage that followed the falling damage.
Yeah, lava in 5th edition doesn't mess around. That's a lot of damage.
Well, he was technically dead from the fall damage, so I said the fall killed him, and then the lava, no matter what the damage was, it was just 2 death saves.
Yep.
And so when his turn started, the lava was already there. 2 death saves again, so he was gone, and he did the whole Terminator sinking into the lava thumbs up thing as he went down. Yeah, it was great.
If you're gonna go out in style.
So the druid turns into a flying snake and zips by Asarak to follow the barbarian through the portal. Shelly, with her Kanku, was just hiding in the back, like, if I don't do anything, he won't notice me, kind of thing.
Maybe he can't see me. I made a good stealth roll.
She did. She got a 26. She was hidden. So then Asarak followed through the portal. The wraith followed with him. So the barbarian who went through first, she had like a good round or two to get an idea of what was going on. Mm-hmm. There was an altar, and inside the altar there's supposed to be an NPC, and the book says to use an NPC that you know, or just to make up an NPC from the town, which is one of the knights. Well, I don't have any NPCs that they would know, so I told him that when she looked inside the bag, that there was a adult male human with a full beard in like Shakespearean era type clothes. She went, "Okay, cool."
Oh, I know who this is. I'll let you finish telling this. Yeah.
So did my paladin who messaged me on Facebook immediately and goes, "Hey, is it this person?" And I was like, "Yeah." So she didn't know who this person was. Mm-hmm. And so when it became her turn again, she stabbed him in the throat.
Good. That's what he deserves.
And then she ran into the other room. And then...
Well done.
And then the druid showed up. Asarak showed up. Asarak killed the druid immediately. Power word kill. And then the barbarian was in the next room trying to find some secret doors, figure out the hallway real quick before Asarak showed up. I had Asarak resurrect the druid as the flying snake, because power word kills a flying snake, you just immediately drop to 0. there's no shapeshift out. You just immediately die. And so you just die as a flying snake. So I had him raise undead the flying snake, and I had the flying snake go and attack the barbarian, and the flying snake killed the barbarian.
I think that's probably a DM's choice. Like rules wise, and I would actually almost agree with you that it would just kill you if you had, if you're a flying snake, you have 5 hit points or whatever the hell you would have. Power word kill. Yeah, I would agree. It just kills the person.
Well,
I have always done it that if you get killed in shape shifted form, you immediately go back to your natural form.
that is what it says. It says when you go to 0 hit points, you go back to your normal form.
Hmm.
However, effects like power word kill specifically say
Yeah,
that
it
they
says
die
you die.
instantly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's you die. It's not a hit points thing. But
right,
for you to die, in my estimation, you have to be put at 0 hit points.
right. Um, the Sage Advice guy clarified the saying effects like disintegrate that and other effects that say if you are reduced to 0 hit points with this, that you are dead, also count towards you don't get to unshapeshift and die. And
See,
some
and
people like that, some
and
people don't.
remember the conversation we had the other day of my thoughts on the sage advice guy.
Well, I'm gonna follow the
I disagree heavily with that.
and then that's the beauty of D&D is you can find what you like and what you don't like. I prefer the if you're dropped to 0, you're dead. Um,
Zero's dead, but you will always shapeshift back to your normal form, in my opinion.
but if you're disintegrated and you're like floating off to dust, it
If
doesn't
you're
matter.
yeah,
It
if you're
doesn't matter.
disintegrated, it makes no damn difference. At that point,
Right.
you're just dust. And
But yeah, they had to clarify it because of power word kill and a few other
so,
things.
question: so you get disintegrated, and then you get true resurrected. What are you? Are you still shapeshifted, or are you not?
Um, in his in this PC's case, he said that it's now his headcanon that Asterek has a flying snake pet.
Fair
I
enough.
said flying snake pet. I'm good with that. Um,
Everyone needs a familiar.
if you do true resurrection on that, then I guess that character could come back.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
So
that would make sense. But the question
so
is, what do they resurrect as?
they would resurrect as a flying snake, but he would still be the druid underneath.
Yeah, okay, that was my question.
Yeah. So to get back to the person in the bag, for all those who don't know, that it was Volo in the bag. It was the only NPC that I knew that my players from my home campaign would recognize, and I knew my other friend who played the druid would recognize the character too. The barbarian is very new to D&D. She's brand new, so she has no idea who Volo is. So
So now you're a barbarian player. This was the first campaign they've played through.
yes, this is the very first time playing Dungeons and Dragons, and she
Did
started midway through Tomb of Annihilation.
okay? That was my second question. So they started midway through. I am so sorry for you, but hey, I hope you had a good time dying.
She went through
Uh,
6 characters, I think.
I understand that D&D is not usually that difficult.
Um, so what was funny too is that she actually got the killing blow on the secondary big bad end guy, and Volo, but she has a Hellfire rapier. So in this world that we've created, both Volo and the secondary big bad end guy have been sent to the River Styx, and it
Mhm.
will be um, resurrected as lemurs.
As a lemur.
And it's a
Yeah, lemures. Yeah.
yeah,
Lemur.
um, lemur.
Yeah,
Lemurs.
lemurs are something completely different than. And mind you, it might be actually pronounced lemur. I have no idea, but it's spelled Lemure.
So the big bad guy will come back out of the River Styx in 2 days, and Volda will come back out of the river in 4 days. So yeah, I'm already wanting to take a homebrew and and chase down that idea a little bit further. I think that'd be a really great
You already
story.
know. You already know good and well that Elminster is going to go into Styx and bring back Volo. You know this.
Well, I think I'd rather have the party do it. I think it'd be fun. I think
Yeah. I mean, that sounds like honestly, that sounds like a fun adventure.
well, I would probably. I didn't get a chance to finish Baldur's Gate. My group before the Beer Bug 2020 started had just gotten to Fort Knucklebone and had achieved their um, Hell Machine, whatever Infernal Machine. They had just gotten that, and I was going to go buy the mini and then meet next week, and that's when everyone was like, "Nope, everything has to be locked down." So,
Hey, I mean, I've had a campaign, not mine, but I've been playing in a campaign that's literally been on hold since that whole thing started.
yeah, but now I have a good reason to bring a party back into Avernus to get Volo back, and I could finish out all of Baldur's Gate in the meantime.
Yeah. Here you go.
Because I bought a miniature a little while ago that I was going to use at the end of Avernus. I was going to kind of force the ending a little bit because I have this miniature now, and I'm not going to really spoil that, but I really want that to happen because I really want to have a
You're the
Infernal
game.
Machine.
Yeah, you're the game. You're the game master. You can make things happen. It's
Yep.
your campaign. Do it with you will.
So ultimately, they all had a great time. Shelley's Kenku. So she was hidden in the back the entire time, and when everybody had died, the the tomb started to reset. You know, I kind of figured Azrac would kind of start forcing it to reset because things have to get back to normal now that the party that did so much damage to the tomb have now been defeated. So she was able to escape the room, and as she was leaving, they did not finish off one of the hags from the fight before the the final boss. So unfortunately, she was exhausted. The best that she could do was move 45 feet, and the hag just kind of chased her down and kept zapping her with lightning until she fell unconscious, and she walked over and snapped the Kenku's neck and proclaimed that she was going to eat it for dinner.
Sure, she did.
And that's how the party ended, very gloriously. And I couldn't have wished for a better TPK for them.
Yeah, all
And
I can say is I really hope they all enjoyed it, and hopefully their next game sessions aren't nearly as brutal.
so speaking of that,
Do you know what you're running next?
so I'm running Icewind Dale next. I'm not going to start it till probably October.
Okay, well,
I'm,
that's
I'm going
only
to
a
give
month or month and a half.
I'm going to give the creative people out there in the world all the time that they need to create the maps, so I can just import them in and make it easier for me.
I mean,
So,
you can always just screenshot it, like take a picture of it, and
well, that's what they do. Usually, they take a picture of it, and they clean
yeah,
it up a bit, and post it. So I'm going to wait for that to happen and read through the book, and they're all going to start new characters for Icewind Dale. We're going to start playing that probably like the October timeframe.
I may consider doing that myself. Like
Yeah,
I really enjoy the Gnomish game that I'm running. We've missed the past few weeks of it just because of players having other life things going on. But I don't know. Anytime I'm creating a campaign, I have to constantly be thinking of what's next, what is next, and I've taken up writing a full time, so a lot of my creative energies are being drained there. So by the time the weekend rolls around, I'm a little exhausted and not in the most creative mode to even be thinking about a campaign. So having access to something like that, and with Icewind Dale, it isn't out yet, so none of my players have played it. They haven't read through it. They don't know a whole lot about it. It might be a good jumping off point for me to do that.
yep.
Do you know what levels it runs through?
1 through 12, I
Okay,
think.
so it's one of their sort of standard things.
Yeah.
Like most of the other ones, I believe, are about those levels.
Yep. Um, But like I said, no one's read it, so no one knows like if it's like if they went back and like there's a couple of the adventures out there that are like really they're 5 to 12, 5 to 13, but they had to they wanted to put in a couple of chapters that was 1 through 5. And in one case, there's like one chapter, which book? I think it was Into the Abyss, where like the first chapter is just levels 1 through 5, and then like chapter 2 on is like 5 through 12.
Yeah.
So who knows how it is? But
I will say
I'm pretty.
I will say that I've seen some of the monsters and stuff from the new Icewind Dale thing, and we have already run into three kobolds in a trench coat.
Yeah.
like the other DM Johnny, we were playing a one shot this past weekend, and be damned if one of the first things we didn't run into was 3 kobolds pretending to be a normal guy in a trench coat.
That's a great monster. I love that one a
Yep.
lot.
It was kind of fun. It was sort of a like I said, it was a one shot. We were thrown into a dungeon for crimes that we committed, not crimes that we didn't commit, for crimes we committed. And basically, the setting was that we had to fight our way out of the dungeon, and if we do, we get to go free and all that. So the kobold got thrown in there with us, and we ran around with it. I rolled a 2 or something on perception, so it took hours of running through this dungeon before I actually realized they were kobolds. I had a real low intelligence, but then we ended like 2 of the kobolds ended up dying. The third one is still alive, oddly enough, with us. Actually used healing potions on him. Everybody's a little surprised by that. It's like it's an NPC. You're gonna let him die? No, he's throwing spells for us. I'm gonna keep him alive.
So the big thing we're going to do next actually is the player that was playing the Warforged monk. His name is Mike. Mike is going to DM for his first time come next weekend.
Excellent.
And he said he took a couple pieces of advice from you and what in the previous podcast.
Please. Hold on. Build my ego. What advice?
Specifically Hobtown. He loved your idea of Hobtown. He loved the idea of the portal of Hobtown.
Awesome.
Of just kind of like warping you around to different planes. So he goes, well, I'm basically just going to do sliders to you guys. You guys are going to be plucked out of wherever you are. You're going to be set here, and you're just going to planescape, and you're going to jump to a bunch of different encounters as I see fit as the, I guess, malevolent being that's going to do it to us.
Oh, I love it. Honestly, yeah, malevolent being. So it's Q operating sliders. I get it.
Yeah. I finally get to play a lawful stupid paladin. I can't wait.
You've been talking about this for years.
Yeah, and I've already started threatening the players through chat because one's an orc, one's a half orc. Shelly is a half orc barbarian. Our druid is playing a goblin ranger. So I've already I'm just gonna kill the goblin immediately.
Not all goblins are evil.
All goblins are evil.
This isn't Goblin Slayer. You've been watching way too much anime lately, Chris.
And I'm the only healer in the group.
Oh, that's normal. I can't tell you the last time I was in a group or any of my players. Like, I don't know the last time anyone did a cleric. I think because we did a whole bunch of one shots since the coronavirus, and I honest to gosh only remember a single cleric out of about 10 different one shots, and out of the main campaigns, we've never had a cleric.
Yeah,
it's a very underappreciated class. I feel like.
Yeah, but yeah, I got the ranger has Goodberry, and I think he has Healing Word, and I have Cure Wounds, and I have an AoE heal. So I think we'll be fine. He's letting us use potions as a bonus action.
Okay, yeah, see, he took that from us too.
He also today actually he was like, well, you can use potions as a bonus action, but you have to have them readily available, like on a belt or tied around your neck or something like that.
Yeah, basically the way I do it, and I've probably talked about it before, is you can drink it yourself as a bonus action. If you're feeding it to somebody, that's your action.
Yeah. But he kind of he tried to put the stipulation on it to make sure we weren't using them every round, that we had to have them readily available.
Yeah.
And I was like, but we can use our move to take the potion out of our backpack.
That is correct, but you use your move to do it.
Well, it's part of the move action. And remember that time that I ranted horribly and we recorded
About
it?
free actions? Yes.
Mm,
That'll be released here soon.
I even linked him the stupid link to the D&D Beyond. I was like, hey, I know this says being prone, but for some strange damn reason, this is where it is. But it's fine in the player's handbook.
Yeah,
And
finding it was a pain in the ass. I was actually looking for it this past weekend and couldn't even find it. Even though
it's
I
in
had
the being
already...
prone section.
I know, but I just couldn't... I didn't remember that.
So I'm really excited for him. I actually get to play D&D for... I got to play a year ago, so I get to play now, so that's going to be great. I'm going to enjoy it. Now I got to play with Shelly, so that's going to be great.
I don't think you've ever actually gotten to play with your wife before.
Nope. And we'll probably play in my room, actually, I think, because normally she sits out in the living room to play while I play back here. While I
That way you can hide everything.
Yeah. But it's great. We're gonna get to play. I'm gonna use D&D Beyond only for the entire thing, including rolling dice. So I'm gonna use the dice roller on D&D Beyond, which I promise I would say this. If you right click on the dice or the damage dice, you can roll advantage, disadvantage, and critical hits, which I didn't know until the lead director of the D&D Beyond dice department told me that face to face.
How long have you been using it?
2 years.
Yeah, it's always amazing. There's things you don't know about stuff that you're using.
The best part too was he's like, yeah, we really have to get more the word about that out more. I was like, yeah, because honestly, I didn't know. I've been using them since you guys released them. And he was like, yeah, we will. And then the newsletter came out for D&D Beyond last week, and that was the first thing in the newsletter was, hey, did you know?
Did you
right
know?
clicking on the
They need to
dice.
release like YouTube videos. They need to tweet it for a week straight. Yeah.
Well, I tweeted it at them. There was some tweet that was going on, and I just took the opportune time to tweet that, and I tagged him in it, and it was. I think I got a good laugh out of that. But yeah, I'm really excited, and overall, I'm glad Tomb of Annihilation ended well. I'm looking forward to Icewind Dale.
I'm actually, I think I'm looking forward to Icewind Dale too. This would be, if I do run this, it would be the first one I've ever run, at least in 5th edition. I've never run any of the other modules.
Yeah. I really hope there's a lot of giant stuff in it, but it doesn't look like it. Sorry, giant Goliath stuff.
Icewind Dale, I mean, maybe frost giants, but
no, I meant Goliath. Goliath.
I know what you meant. But look, you like giants too. You know it.
I know. But it looks like they got a lot of really cool. They've been dropping a lot of hints on Twitter about, I think, the more end of Icewind Dale. And I don't know much about the Faerun Moor, starting probably about the Spell Plague era on. I got a good handle on.
That's about when I bounced out. I know before the Spell Plague.
So before all that stuff, like at the very beginning of Faerun, were there like an advanced species in flying cities or something like that?
A very, very long time ago. Where the desert of, I think it's Acheron is at, the giant desert, there used to be like flying cities and everything around there. God, my lore is iffy. I knew all this stuff from 3rd edition.
So they tweeted out a picture, and that's what people thought the picture was, because it kind of looked like almost like a giant flying saucer. But it looks like a city on a giant flying saucer, and it's crashed and buried underneath a bunch of ice. So people immediately jump to whatever this race was in this flying city, that this is a lost flying city buried deep in Icewind Dale.
So something a while back, I'll have to look up all the lore, had happened, and these highly advanced wizards and whatnot had gotten thrown into a shadow pocket realm. So at some point they found their way back out, brought their flying city with them and were hovering around over the desert. I think it's Anak, something of that nature.
The Nithrigal.
Yeah, Anak, Anauroch.
That's where the flying cities were. Okay.
I believe that's the case.
The ancient Netherese Empire.
Yes, the Netherese Empire. That's it.
So yeah, one of the tweets they put out, it looks like that's what it's going to be.
The Netheril Empire. 54 floating cities soared above the skies. The City of Shade. That's what it was. Man, bringing back memories of reading all this stuff. I used to love Forgotten Realms.
Yeah. And honestly, I don't know anything about Forgotten Realms beyond, like I said, when I started playing in 4th edition.
Yeah, now I can't imagine how Icewind Dale would have anything to do with that, though. Unless one of these things pops up over Icewind Dale, perhaps.
No. Like I said, it looks like it crashed and was stuck in the ice, and ice froze over it.
Oh no. That sounds more like the movie The Thing.
Well, that's specifically what they said they based Icewind, Rime of the Frost made it off of.
Yeah, okay.
Is
there you go.
The Thing.
So somebody finds this frozen flying saucer, and I say that in quotation marks, under the ice, digs it up, and then this horrible shadow being is going to pop up and start looking like other people while taking them over, a la Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Well, I think it's more like their technology or something may come to light because they released the miniatures that came out for Icewind Dale.
Okay.
That shows that dragon at the end.
What's Dungeons and Dragons? There has to be a dragon.
It's got to be a dungeon and it's got to be a dragon.
Exactly. Those are 2 requirements. Yeah, so I'm kind of looking forward to it. The other thing that I'm really, really, really looking forward to, and they just announced it this week, I think, is the Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. And I'm saying everything again. I'm going to keep saying everything, because apparently people are complaining about the word everything.
Yep.
Get over yourselves. It's a word.
They said it was played out because Xanathar's Book of Everything.
Oh no.
Yeah. Because Xanathar's had everything in it, they shouldn't use everything again.
Hey, guess what? Xanathar's a liar. Obviously, he didn't have everything because Tasha has everything.
She has everything else.
Yeah.
That's what it should have been. It should have been the Cauldron of Everything else.
It should.
And honestly, I kind of hope they keep this naming convention because I kind of like. Okay, I love 4th edition. In that, here's Player's Handbook 1, here's Player's Handbook 2, here's Player's Handbook 3, here's Monster Manual 1, 2, 3.
Right.
Here's Supplement B, here's the DMG, here's the Essentials line.
Yeah, I mean those are carries over from 3rd edition.
Right. I like that structure. But I like this structure better. You have Xanathar's everything, Tasha's everything, and then later on you need another something everything.
We've already had Mordecai's. He didn't do everything.
Right.
I don't even remember.
But that was a tome. That was a tome of
Agnazar's
foes.
everything. It's all spelled.
Right, but Mordecai's was a tome of foes.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had Volo's Guide to Monsters. So we need more Volos. But he's dead.
You can't have more Volos. Somebody stabbed him in the neck.
They can't release any more Volos. They can't release the Guide to Spirits like they wanted to. Because you killed him.
Good work. We're not going to get nearly as many books because of you. Thanks.
You should feel ashamed.
So I just want to read through some of the stuff that they've got mentioned in this Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. Expanded subclasses, more character options, introducing group patrons, spells, artifacts, and magic tattoos, expanded rules options, and a plethora of puzzles. Do you know what a plethora is?
There's more than a few and less than many.
I love that quote.
So supposedly this is going to have the new way of building characters without characters having like +2 to a specific stat. Like all the doors having +2 to Constitution. Now you don't have to follow that standard, and you can have +2 in whatever you want, essentially.
Okay. I wonder if they're going to have that under expanded rules options.
Yeah, that was the big part of this book is to get a kind of move away from that structure. Even though I understand why they are, and it's good that they're trying new things out. And
They're putting down in writing something that everybody who's been playing for a long time already knows that
yeah,
these aren't actual hard rules. Yeah,
right.
you as the game master, you get to make your own rules. Tell your players ahead of time, for the love of God. But it's your world. If you don't want orcs to have +2 strength or dwarves to have plus constitution, then don't let them have it. Yeah.
But what happens with this though, because they're actually making it in the written down version,
Hmm.
now tools like D&D Beyond have to go through and update
That's fair.
their tool sets to actually match that thing. So it becomes a lot easier to use those tools, which is
My
great.
brain, understand, my brain does not always associate it with the online gaming aspect of things.
Yeah.
But yeah, that makes perfect sense to me.
So new class features, new feats.
So for me, the expanded subclasses is interesting because they specifically mention including the artificer. The artificer has pretty much been a staple for quite a while at this point. I mean, I don't remember where it popped up at, but it's been around for several years at this point. So I'm glad they're finally putting it, in writing in a book. This is the class. I wonder what other are there going to be any other classes?
So it's going to have 22 new subclasses.
Yes, but
Um,
subclasses. I mean, what is that? Is that an archetype or is
yeah,
it
it's when you get to like
level
level
three?
3. Yeah.
Because artificer is not an archetype. Artificer is another class.
No, right. But they're expanding it. They're expanding it greatly. They're taking a lot of stuff that's been in the playtesting and the Unearthed Arcana for a while, and they're putting it all into a book.
Yeah.
So they're adding 22 new subclasses. A couple examples are Order Domain, Circle of Spores, College of Eloquence, Oath of Glory.
Circle of Spores is already in a book.
It's in
It's in
uh, it's in
Theros,
Ravinica.
or yeah, Ravnica. It's Ravnica. Sorry.
Yeah, but that's not Faerun rules. But now it will
Yeah,
be.
but it's an official book. But yeah, okay.
Yeah. Oath of Glory from Theros, and then Blade Singing, which they're reprinting.
Okay. People
Uh,
people have been calling for the Blade Singer class for a while anyway, especially since everything is Forgotten Realms nowadays.
so here is the best part, though. Various psionic spells and subclasses featured in the earlier Unearthed Arcana from earlier this year are going to be present in the book, including
Interesting.
including the psionic mind sorcerer.
Interesting. Okay. I mean, they specifically did say psionic spells, so
Hmm.
that's fine. Biggest problem
Yep.
people have had with psionics a lot of times is it magic? Is it not magic? This straight up just clarifies it. Counted as magic.
Looks like the Artificer is getting a fourth official subclass called the Armorer.
They already had that.
Mm. It might be a reprint from the Critical Role book,
That may be.
or it could be a UA thing.
I
But the
know that when I was starting up my gnome campaign, because one of the people is playing an artificer in there, he specifically mentioned the different the archetypes, and that was one of them, if I'm recalling correctly.
Yep. So the group patron thing is essentially the same thing that they had in Eberron,
Mhm.
but it's just been quote unquote de-Eberroned. So they're
I
gonna.
am not familiar with the group patrons thing. Like I've read, whether you're part of the same criminal syndicate or working for an ancient dragon, each group patron option comes with its own perks and types of assignments. I I haven't seen any of this, but I like that.
So essentially, they were actually talking about this on the D&D Beyond because they have to update their tools to reflect all this. If you get like a certain like tattoo or set of tattoos from like a group in Eberron, you get additional spells,
Okay.
as an example. But those spells weren't being added into your spell class list because it was handled in a different section in the builder and it wasn't updating on your character sheet. Well, because this book is coming out, and it's becoming now straight to all Faerun and core D&D. They have to update their tool to reflect that. So that's one of the big things they're rolling out here very soon. So, all in all, this book is going to be really, really good, and I'm looking forward to it a lot. And
Yeah,
it's just more customization.
yeah, and that's what I love. I absolutely loved Xanathar's book. Volo's was a great thing. Tasha's Cauldron of everything. This is exactly what I want. Whereas the DM's Guild is fantastic, especially if you want to expand and have little things like this. But a lot of the stuff on there is not official. It is not play tested, and sometimes you just come across things that are too powerful and too broken.
Yep.
This we know it's been looked at. We know it's been tested. It's been played through for probably a couple years at this point, and everything should be reasonably well balanced. So yeah, I'm all about this. I just love the fact they're adding in magic tattoos. I've been waiting on that.
Well, it's been in Eberron for a while.
Oh, I know, I know. It was around for a while. Like it was a third edition thing and so forth. But I hadn't seen, and mind you, I haven't really looked into the Eberron stuff because I don't think there's a hard book for it. I know
Yeah, there is.
there's the online book. I haven't seen a physical book.
Oh, I bought it because I was going to run it, but no one wanted to run it with me. So.
Okay, I probably saw it and just ignored it because it's Eberron. But yeah, just having the magic tattoos because I was playing a character who every time I killed a monster of some new type, I'd get a tattoo of it. So so now I can get magical tattoos.
I'm going to have to bring it to my homebrew too. People getting magic tattoos with the crude oil.
Third edition, yeah, that'd be cool. The third edition, when there was a monk class, one of the prestige classes that got abilities based on the tattoos that they got.
So the last thing I wanted to talk about tonight, just as a quick aside, because I know I think we're getting to the end of this,
A few more minutes, at least.
another thing that leaked from Icewind Dale, which I'm very excited for, and everyone else is very excited for.
Durgers?
No. Well, yes. I think that's just me, though.
Mostly just you, yes.
The Mind Master gets his own mini now. I'm so happy.
I remember. I'm not happy about that. It's going to stab me in the ankle again.
So it's something Chris Perkins posted back at the end of July, and it is possibly the best magic item ever created in all of D&D. And it is...
It's a tall order, son.
It is a magical scroll. And it summons something. Can you take a guess at what it summons?
No, I'm horrible at the guessing game. Like if I am the worst person ever at the guessing game. So I'm like, if I went on Family Feud, we're gonna lose.
Okay. So I will read you the description of the scroll first. Using an action to read the scroll causes the Tarrasque to appear in an unoccupied space you can see within 1 mile of you.
I should
The
have
Tarrasque
known.
disappears when it drops to 0 hit points and is hostile towards all creatures other than itself. It is the scroll of motherfucking Tarrasque summoning.
Should have known. I should have known.
Yeah.
Oh, that is not the best item that's ever
Yes,
been.
it is. Shut up.
No, that is one of the worst items that has ever been in game.
It is the best item.
Just like the Tarrasque is one of the worst creatures that's ever been in the game.
So the best part about this is I'm not 100% sure on the rules of summoning. Like if you summon a creature that into an area that it cannot fit, what happens? But this is a Tarrasque. So if you summon this into a 20 by 20 foot room, it's just going to destroy whatever is around it because it's a Tarrasque. It's just going to just push up the mountain and destroy it.
My players once killed a kraken that was in a small pool, and they dropped an iron keep on it.
Yeah, it's a traditional thing to do. But now you can drop a Tarrasque on it. How about that?
Hey, whatever works. Do you control the Tarrasque if you summon it?
No, you do not.
Yeah, okay. That you definitely want to do that. Just bring it on out, Never mind that it's been slumbering for, 100 years somewhere. It hasn't eaten anything. I'm sure it won't eat you. It's fine.
So Christopher Perkins, Chris Perkins, his tweet actually says, a little bit of content from Icewind Dale, Rhyme of the Frost Medium, when you absolutely positively got to kill every motherfucker
Everybody
in
in
the
the
room.
room. Yeah. I love that quote too. That's Samuel Jackson from Jackie Brown.
Yeah, I love the Terrask, and I love the whole idea behind it. Like, so in evolution, creatures spawn the spikes and you know the dorsal fins. I guess I don't know what the fins are called. Like a Stegosaurus, they evolve those spines because there are bigger predators that will prey
Oh yeah,
upon
yeah,
that.
yeah. I'm aware.
So the Terrask has all those spines across its back. So what the hell did the
What prey?
Terrask have to evolve spines on its back for?
So
To protect itself from.
we have actually determined this answer in the epic game that we played a while back.
Uh huh.
The answer was Grimnar. So Grimnar was our frenzied berserker barbarian who killed a Tarask in one round. That's what preys on a Tarask.
But he would evolve something in front of him. So what's bigger than a Terrask that can attack it from above?
I'm sure there's something, but we've never seen it.
Well, I think we have. I just don't think that they've ever like dived deep into the Terrask like lore. I guess.
No, the Tarask was sort of a throwaway monster. I first recall it in second edition, and everybody back then was just oohing and eyeing about the Tarask because, well, it was the biggest, baddest monster in the game.
Yeah.
You know, there wasn't anything, I can't recall anything in any of the books anywhere that was more powerful than that thing. Um,
Right.
third edition, well, the rules got a little broken, and you know, characters could actually kill one in a single round of combat if you were high enough level.
Right.
So it sort of lost that that mystique at that point for me.
Well, I think the Terrask is, but I consider the Terrask to be like the puppy of the Terrask world.
Yeah, it's the small. It's the runt of the litter. We
Yeah.
don't. Yeah, we call it the Tarask. We don't really know what it is, and we have no idea where its family's at.
Right. Because for all intents and purposes, Godzilla is a Terrask.
Maybe
No, no, he is. He is from the Earth, just like a Terrask is from the
he
Earth.
does. He does hibernate for 100 years.
Yeah. He has the
He
spines on his back, but he's a bigger, better Terrask because he walks straight upright, is near indestructible,
he does have
and
arms.
and, and has a laser beam that comes out of his mouth that's powerful enough to blow up a planet.
I think the Tarask that we have just hasn't quite figured out how to use its fire breath yet.
Probably.
Could you imagine that? Something that large with fire breath that just wipe out a whole village in one go.
Well, I mean, I've
I've been
seen many a Godzilla movie, so I can very much imagine
yeah, yeah.
that.
I've been watching God, what is the
Legend of Korra.
thank you, The Legend of Korra. I'm thinking The Last Airbender. I'm like, that's not right. Yeah, The Legend of Korra lately, and they're going through the episodes where she meets the first Airbender, and where he
First
actually
Avatar.
thank you, the first Avatar, where he gets all the powers from the dragon turtles, and with the cities on their backs. Those things are huge.
Yep.
It's they all it's like giant gammas all over the world.
Hmm. I saw a video on YouTube a while back, kind of rating all the Godzillas, and there's an anime series out there called Godzilla Earth,
Mhm.
and
I remember that when this came out.
yeah, so like the first season is them trying to get back to Earth and fighting Godzilla. That basically Godzilla drove them off in the first place. So they spend all their resources, all their time. They spend 1,000 years coming up with this perfect plan to destroy and kill Godzilla. And when they get down there, they find him. They unleash all their stuff. They lose all the resources. They lose mostly all their people, and they kill Godzilla. But wait, there's more. Turns out that wasn't Godzilla. That was the Godzilla baby. And the Godzilla that drove them off wakes up at the end, and he is literally the size of a continent. And he
Nice.
just wrecks everything. He just
Still,
his presence alone is enough to destroy them.
he is
And then they
Cthulhu.
then they spend 2 seasons trying to figure out like what do we do? Nothing. He's literally the planet. Just let's just go.
Still, nothing will top Godzilla Final Wars. Bob Sapp and the Predator Don Fry on a spaceship fighting Godzilla. It's the greatest thing ever filmed.
Final Wars is the best, yes.
On that note, bye, Craig. It's been fun. See you next week.
I don't know how to stop him.
He's out of control. He's crazy.